August 1955. A 14-year-old boy visiting family in Mississippi would become the symbol of a nation's struggle against racial injustice. His name was Emmett Till, and his tragic death would spark a movement that changed America forever. But there's more to his story. It wasn't just the murder that ignited the flames of civil rights. It was a relentless work of black-owned media outlets who exposed the truth when mainstream outlets turned a blind eye. The murder that sparked a movement, how black media uncovered the truth. To understand the true weight of Emmett Till's murder, we must first understand the world he lived in. The American South in the 1950s was a place of deep racial segregation. Black Americans were forced to live in fear, aware that a single misstep could cost them their lives. The law didn't protect them. The police didn't protect them. The system was built to keep them in their place. In this world, Emmett Till, a 14-year-old from Chicago, ventured to Money, Mississippi, to visit his relatives. Emmett, a confident and energetic boy, was unaware of the dangers that lay in wait for him in the heart of the segregated South. His only crime, whistling at a white woman. It was a simple gesture, a whistle, but in the eyes of many white people in the South, it was seen as a grave insult, an act of disrespect that could not be forgiven. Days after this incident, Emmett Till would be dead. His mutilated body was discovered floating in the Tallahatchie River. The body of Emmett Till was found on August 31, 1955. His face was swollen beyond recognition, and his body showed signs of extreme brutality. It was clear that his death was not an accident. It was murder. The two men responsible for his murder, Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam, were arrested, but the justice system in Mississippi had already made its decision. The trial that followed would be nothing more than a cruel mockery of justice. The trial, which was covered by mainstream media outlets, concluded with the two men being acquitted by an all-white jury. The defense played on the deep racial prejudices of the time, and Emmett's life was deemed expendable. In many ways, the murder of Emmett Till could have been just another forgotten lynching in the history of racial violence. But Emmett's mother, Mamie Till-Mobley, wasn't going to let that happen. Mamie Till-Mobley, Emmett's mother, made an extraordinary decision. Despite the overwhelming grief she felt, she chose to have an open-casket funeral. She wanted the world to see what had been done to her son. "I wanted the world to see what they did to my boy," she later said. This was not just a mother mourning her child. This was a woman on a mission to make sure the world could not look away from the horror that had taken place. It wasn't just the family's grief that brought attention to Emmett's death. It was the media. In an era where mainstream white media outlets refused to show the full brutality of racial violence, black-owned media stepped up to the plate. Jet magazine, one of the most influential black-owned publications of the time, took the bold step of publishing the graphic photos of Emmett's disfigured body. These images shocked the nation. The images spread like wildfire, from newsstands to homes across the country. While white-owned publications sanitized the story or ignored it entirely, Jet's decision to publish the photos ignited outrage. Those photos acted as a catalyst for the civil rights movement. People could no longer pretend that racial violence wasn't happening. The truth was out there, thanks to black media. But the story didn't end with the trial. In a shocking twist, months after their acquittal, Bryant and Milam admitted to the murder in a paid interview with Look magazine. They spoke casually about how they had killed Emmett, knowing full well that they couldn't be retried due to double jeopardy laws. This confession, while sickening, was further proof of the system's failure. It was a slap in the face to the black community who had fought so hard for justice. Though Emmett Till's killers were never brought to justice, his death inspired a new generation of activists. Rosa Parks, who refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus, later stated that she was inspired by Emmett's story. His death helped fuel the civil rights movement, bringing figures like Martin Luther King Jr. into the national spotlight. Emmett's death was not in vain. It became a rallying cry for civil rights, a symbol of the fight for justice. The black press, particularly Jet magazine and the Chicago Defender, made sure his name was never forgotten. Without their efforts, Emmett Till might have been another forgotten victim, lost in the pages of history. In 2004, nearly 50 years after Emmett's murder, the case was reopened by the U.S. government. But the fight for justice didn't end there. In 2022, a previously unknown arrest warrant for Carolyn Bryant, the woman whose accusation led to Emmett's death, was discovered. Though she was never prosecuted, her role in the tragedy remains a dark chapter in America's history. Emmett Till's murder was not just a moment in history. It was a turning point. His death and the media's role in exposing the truth set in motion a movement that would change America forever. The legacy of Emmett Till is a reminder of the power of media, of courage in the face of injustice, and of the ongoing fight for civil rights. The story of Emmett Till is a reminder that history can never be forgotten. It's a reminder of the power of the people, of the strength of black media, and of the resilience of a community fighting for justice. His death may have been senseless, but the movement it sparked was anything but. Thank you for watching.